Hey guys, welcome back. We're at part 3 of Santa's sled. The part that we will be making at the current moment is going to be from about here, working our way up to the point in the front of the sled underneath. And this part I have already got laid out on the loom because it's just simple chains basically. But what I want you guys to do, your loom is going to only have 5 pegs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, still set up in a straight configuration. All I did was take off this piece right here. I just lifted off those 4 pegs and set those out of the way. So you want to make sure that your loom is set at 5 pieces, 5 pegs, arrow pointing from the left going towards the right. What I did was I filled up the center band, the center peg, with 2 bands all the way running down your center peg all the way to the end. Then it's 2 bands coming on the peg up above it, going almost to the end and leaving vacant the last one. And the top is a single band, just 1 band running from this left all the way down, leaving vacant 2 spots. You're going to do the same thing on the lower piece. You're going to have 2 bands running from this point on the left down to the next to the last peg on your right hand on the right side, leaving that right one vacant. And then a single band, just 1 band, going from the left, working its way down and leaving 2 vacant spots. So it looks very much like a kind of a point of an airplane or an arrow. I'll hold up the end so you guys can see that closer. This was 2 bands on each side of that, and then a single band on both of those sides. Now I have not laid my horizontal band yet, and we are going to be laying a single horizontal band. You might need to pause the video and catch up till we get to the point of the horizontal band. I'm doing this just for time's sake. I know most of you don't like it when I do videos this way, but it is a time saver for me and less fumbling for me to get the things on the loom. Which if you're working on this and you know it's an expert level project, you should know how to lay these bands by now like that in a simple straight pattern. So we're going to take our single band, horizontal band, and we're going to do over 3 pegs in each of these areas. So you're just looping your bands on. And once again, it's a single band. I wanted to do this off camera too, but I kind of figured I needed to show you guys how to do the regular laying first. Not going to be too time consuming, and like I said, it's just a simple single band connecting things across. Nothing real fancy about that. Oops, that one I only did across 2. You need to stretch them across all 3. Down to this last set, and then there's only 3 here in the center. And something else that we need to do is to add our diagonal pieces to connect our points. So we're going to take a single band and go from this top one and connect it as a diagonal here. Connect that as a diagonal there. Another single band connecting from that point to this end point right here. We need to do the same thing on the other side, the bottom side. A single band from point to point, a single band from point to point. And now we just need to cap this guy off on the end with a single band wrapped twice around. 1, 2, a 2-time cap band. And actually, what I want you to do, I decided to change things up a little bit. I want you to take that cap band back off. We're not going to use a cap band on this portion, because actually what I'm going to do is to take our points of our sled, this cap band here, That's going to become our point, our cap band. The point's going to become our cap band on both pieces of our sled. So turn your loom around so that your arrows are pointing from your body towards your body. So they're pointing in a down fashion towards your body. Your last band should be right here. And I want to let you know that this part is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be so much fun. You're going to love this part. Now, actually, it is very difficult. And a lot of people are not going to like this at all. But you guys asked for this tutorial many times. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Okay, so our sled, I want you to lay your pieces on the side looking just like this. What we're going to do is to take a single piece of these bands, the outermost link on these bands, and we're going to lay those on our left side. And over here, we're going to take the same band, but on the opposite side, and we're going to lay it here. So they're going to be sort of sandwiched in between. And it's going to be a lot of tension, and it's going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be really confusing when we go to loop the bands. So my first step is going to be to take our cap band at the end. There's my little cap band on this one side. I'm taking that cap band and I'm placing it right over that last peg. And you need to do this on the opposite side also, to take that cap band on the opposite side and loop it over that last peg. Move this guy off to the side some. So we have already begun with a weird looking science experiment. And we need to make it look even weirder. This one is going to be pretty easy because your link is right here. So I'm going to pull this second link right here over to that peg, the third link over to the third peg. And we're going to do that all the way down the loom. And as we pull it, it's going to continue to get tighter. So we may have to loop at the same time. So I'm taking two pieces, not the whole link, just one side, two pieces. And these are jelly type of bands, and I really don't like working with them too much because it's very hard to grip them. But there's two pieces, just two pieces. Not four bands, just the two. And we're going to link it there. Two bands on this next one. I'm going to link it there on number 3. And then I'm going to go even a little further, and I'm going to pull number 4 is here, number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8. I probably will not get all of those on there without having to loop something. So there's number 4. And you're only getting 2 bands. Number 5. Number 6. And if your bands are twisted, it's kind of hard to find the opposite ones or the right ones. Number 7. And number 8. And that's going to leave our legs next. We just want to tuck that under there like that. Now we need to do the same thing on the opposite side. And I do need to turn my loom just a little bit so I can get a better angle and grab. We're grabbing our 2 bands. Not 3, Steph, just 2. 2 bands. And it's all or nothing for me. I either grab too many or not enough. So I just need to get my 2 bands hooked back on there. Okay. 2 bands hooked on. My next 2 are going on this peg right there. Peg number 3 and link number 3. And we're going to work our way down on this one too. Number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 7, one of those doesn't want to stay on there. Number 7, and number 8. So we have got everything in the same position, and I am going to loop up to this point right here. That way, if anything falls off, I know it's linked in. Now, as we loop, we're going to start down here, and we're pushing back those top, what's going to be 4 bands as your cap band. 2 from the left side, 2 from the right side. And then you want to get the next band that you come to, which is going to be a single going off to the left. Reach back in there again, and you're going to grab a single going off to the right. And then you're going to reach in again, and you're going to grab 2 bands, which are going to be the middle bands. You're going to loop up the middle. And since we're here, I'm going to loop up this whole middle. I'm going to loop up the whole middle section because nothing else needs to worry about linking in at this point in time. So I'm just going to link up the entire middle. Being careful that you have not missed a link. Always, always, always double check and make sure you've not missed a link. When I was making the second side of a sled, I missed one of the first links, that confusing section at the point, and I had to restart my sides twice because I did it 2 times in a row. And reach in, and stop there. Okay, we've got our center portion looped, and our next thing is to do the left and the right side. On these 2 points, there is a single band down here. That's our diagonal piece that connects these 2 together. We cannot forget to reach into there and get those bands. So I want you to reach in off the center and move over and find that single band. And it's a little mess in there. It's messy. Find that single band, pull it out, and you can kind of see that it's going to go off to the left. Now I want you to reach back into that same spot. I want you to grab the bottom 2 bands. They're going to be coming forward. And then we're going to move over here, and we're going to do the same thing on the right side. You need to reach in there and find that single band that's going off to the right and place it, that diagonal band that's going off to the right. And then we want to reach back in there, and we want to grab the bottom 2 bands, which is coming straight forward. If you miss those loops, those single bands, those single diagonal bands there, your item will fall apart. Just to let you know, it will fall apart. So be sure that you have those single bands on that diagonal looped in. So I have my center section already done. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish off the set of 2 bands that are on the left side. It's just straightforward looping right on up. Nothing real fancy about this, just like you're looping a single chain, pushing back your horizontal band, and continue to loop forward until you get to the end. We can do the same thing on the column that is to the right of the center. Reaching in, pushing back and grabbing your bottom 2 bands, 2 bands, and continue to loop that all the way forward, pushing back your horizontal bands. You don't want to loop those in there with it. And we're at the end of that portion. Now we need to loop in our sides, and we're going to link up to where we stopped here, and we're going to continue to add some more. And then guess what? We have to do a junction. We're going to have to reload our loom again to finish off this project. I told you it was complex, but we will get through this. You wanted to make it, we will get through this. So start over here on your 3rd peg up from the left, 1, 2, 3. We have not linked those in yet. So you want to push back all of the mess that's there and the horizontal band that's on the bottom or next to the bottom, and you're grabbing that single band way, way, way down there. It's a single band way down there, and looping it forward. Peg number 4 up from the bottom, you're doing the same thing, reaching in, grabbing that bottom single band, reach in, bottom single band, reach in, bottom single band. Some of these are a little easier to see than others. Reach in, bottom single band. And we need to stop there because we don't have any more of our links secured in. And I'm not going to secure those in until I relieve some of the pressure down here. But I can't relieve the pressure down here until I get my right side done. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 on the right side. Reach in, pushing back the mess and the gook. And you're grabbing that single band on the very bottom. Peg 4 up, you're reaching in, grabbing the single band on the bottom. Single band on the bottom, pushing back everything that you come to. And we are going to loop up to this stopping point right here. And because I know I need to relieve some tension off of the rest of this before I lay it out, I want you guys to take your hook. I want you to put it down here where that cap band was. And I want you just to simply lift off some of these. And we want to go up to the peg that is next to where we stopped looping it in. So you just want to relieve some of this tension up to that peg, that next to the last peg. And this is going to give us a little bit more space to finish our linking and then the rest of our looping without putting so much stress on the rubber bands. So here we've got it relieve some stress, and now we're able to finish linking up the rest of this portion here. I'm going to start on my left side again, and there's my 2 bands. That one's easy to see. Another 2 bands. That one's pretty easy to see. 2 bands. 2 bands. And this is getting really tight again. And 2 more bands right there. And now we're back to the weird looking science experiment. So before I actually complete this side over here, I'm going to reach into my last one I linked, and you see the little teardrop there, so I know that that's the last one that I linked in right here. I'm going to push back the mess and the gook and the horizontal band, and I'm getting that single band on the bottom. Push back the mess and the gook. These get really hard to see and get down to that bottom band, but you want the band on the very bottom. Pushing back the gook. Single band on the bottom. That was not too bad. Pushing back the gook. And then this one you're pushing back the gook. And we're going to lay it right there. Now our next part, we're going to have to convert this whole row over onto another set of a loaded loom. So I want you to put a black band in there for a securing band. This one here, I want you to do the same thing. Put a black band in for a securing band, or whatever color you have that's not red. Don't do red. Right here, third one. Number 4 can get one too, because we're done looping that row up. And the one all the way on the right we cannot do yet. Can't do that one yet because we still have this whole right side to put on. And I'm really sorry. I know that it doesn't show up on camera as well as it does the left, but I have to turn this one because I just can't get to the side and film and do everything. So here is my next available loop. And you're grabbing those 2 and those 2. And it's going to get tight again. 2 and 2. And here's my last 2 for this round. I'm going to stretch it out way down here. And now we're able to reach in, push back the things that we don't want to see. And I have a teardrop there. And I do not have a teardrop underneath of this one. So I'm reaching in to grab that bottom band, that single band. It's still straight. Now it looks like a teardrop. Push back your single band. Come forward. Be very careful as you do this, because if you miss a link, guess what? It will fall apart. I've made this sled multiple times. I gave it away a lot last year. I designed it last year as a Christmas gift, and I made multiple ones of them. And trust me, I've lost more links than I can even count on one hand. Part of the reason why I probably procrastinated so long on doing this video, because I knew that everybody would yell at me if they forgot a link. And we're going to tie this one off right here. And now we are going to pull it off the loom. And then we have to reload our loom again. And then we will be able to finish linking it up. And this process is going to be time consuming again. So I'm going to tell you what to do, and then we're going to come back after I've done it. Kind of looks a little weird at the current moment, but that's going to be our sled. There we go. Little, kind of looks like a bat. Could have made a 3D bat out of a sled. But there is part of our sled, and we will get to the rest of it in just a couple minutes. Now for the rest of it, loom again, going from the left towards the right. I'm going to start off with my center band being 2, and I'm going to load 2 bands all the way up, 2 bands on the next one, 2 bands on the top one from the center, 1 band at the top, 1 band at the bottom. And we will go over that again in just a moment, but it's going to be a single band, 2 bands, 2 bands, 2 bands, and a single band going all the way down the loom this time. We're not going to have any space. We're going to fill up the whole loom. All right, guys, if you've already got your loom loaded up with your single band, 2 bands, 2 bands, 2 bands, and a single band, if you've got that loaded all the way up, all the way down to the bottom of your loom, I need you to start back up at the top again, where the arrows would be pointing down towards your body, and I need you just to unhook each of those bands that you put on that very top, because we need to lay some securing bands. And for the securing bands that are going to be at the top, we're going to take 2 bands running from the center over to the right, 2 bands going from the right peg or center right over to the far right, and then we're going to come back on the left side with 2 bands going from center to left, and 2 more bands from that peg over to the left side. And now we need to place our links back on that we had dropped down. So just pick up those links with your hook, place them back over their appropriate pegs, and I have already got my horizontal bands laid across. If you haven't already done that, there'll be 3 across twice. So 3 and 3 and 3 and 3. You get the point there. I did not do bands on the bottom peg because when I fix this part, that's going to be part of the horizontal when I adhere that piece on. So go ahead and pause the video here if you don't have your loom set up looking like this yet. Pause the video and get caught up, and then we will move on to the next step, which is joining the first piece that we did and finishing up and sealing it off. And I am ready to begin with that part. So if you're back with us right now, you're playing on. What I want you to do is to take your hook or something to hold with, and you're going to pierce right through all of that area that is equivalent with where your black band was. You want to make sure that you're getting everything that is secured under that little black band. And there is everything in there. So we're going to stretch that out over the left peg, and you can either trim or pull off that holding band. We're going to do the same thing on the next one. We want to be sure that we're grabbing everything that is in with that black band, and it's got your horizontal bands in it too, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to see and get everything we want to get with these pieces. That is everything in that black band. And we're going to lay that there and remove your holding band. Next band is in the center, and this one's going to be really messy because you've got your horizontal band going to the left and your horizontal band going to the right. So just make sure you're getting all of them. And if you don't, there we go. I've got all of mine. Just be sure you got all of them, and then place it over your center peg. And now as I was working with all of that, I have just realized that these bands are so slippery. That's the reason I don't like the jelly texture too much. That mine just fell off right there. So I have to place that one back down on it. And just push it down so that they don't pop off. And the holding band can come off of your center one now. Moving over to the one on the right side. Making sure I've got everything. I'll loop it up forward. Take off my holding band. And now the last one on the right side, which is going to be messy again. I might have to turn my loom a little bit. But you want to make sure that you're getting, once again, everything that's running through that center piece. And it is going to be difficult and complicated, and I did not get it all. So I just need to fiddle with it a little bit more. It's okay, I'm fiddling too. But you need to make sure you've got all those pieces and they're lined up correctly. And I finally got it. And then slide it over that right one. There's a little holding band that can go back up there. Okay. So now we just need to release our last holding hook. Maybe. And I keep pulling it tighter. My old faithful scissors here. Be sure if you're using your scissors that you don't cut your red bands. And that would be really bad. And you would be really mad at me. So now we are ready again to start to loop. I'm going to loop the center and the left and the right of the center all the way up to the top first. That way I know if I'm pulling with the other bands. Oops, and there's a piece that has fallen out from somewhere. And if you see an extra loop that doesn't look like it's hooked into anything, be sure to grab it. Like I have an extra loop right here that looks like it slid out from underneath. I'm just going to link it in over that peg because I know that's where it belongs. I'm going to push back all of this mess, and I'm reaching the bottom two bands. I'm going to come straight forward. And now it's straightforward looping, pushing back your horizontal bands. I like the center and the ones off to the side because they're just basic straightforward looping. When you get to the part where you have to kind of hook in the edges of the sled, then it's a little bit more confusing. But this part's pretty simple. And if you need to pause the video, pause the video. If not, loop at your own speed, catch back up. I'll let you know when I switch to something different. And I'm actually going to loop this right to the end and stop right there for a minute. Then I'm going to start back down here on the left side of the center and grabbing my bottom two bands. And we're just pushing back our horizontal bands. That one slid up off there. I want it to stay neat looking, so I'm going to push it down. I like to kind of hold my things down. And at this point in time, your loom's probably starting to pivot on you because the tension's getting greater. So you just want to make sure that your left and right far side pegs don't slide off the peg holder. But this step is pretty simple. Straightforward looping all the way to the end. And then we're going to start back down here on the righter side of the center. Righter, is that a word? The righter side of center. Go to the righter side of center just once. And now I crack myself up sometimes. Once again, straightforward looping. I should really fast forward through this part, but it takes me longer to figure out how to use the fast forward feature in my editing program that I just decide to ramble on. Plus you guys like to hear me talk. There you go. All right, now back down to the end where we have to start to linker things in. So here we go once again. Starting off on my left, you want to grab the 2 links on the bottom side. 2 links, and this area where the leg is going to be a little tricky. 2 more links. Now they're going to start to turn in on you a little bit. 2 links again, 2 links again, and 2 links on the leg. And it's really hard to do this and keep in camera. So if I go out of film, I'm really sorry, but there I've got us linked in, and I'm going to try to go 1 more beyond the leg. That 2 links right there. I'm going to try to get it in. Here we go. And then we can do the same thing on this other side. Of course, I have to turn my loom, and you want it to stay down. Behave and stay down there. And things are going to get tight once again, but you're grabbing the bottom 2 pieces, bottom 2 bands, and linking that over. 2 bands and linking over. And 2 bands. And just the nature of the beast, it's going to curl and make it impossible for you to see what I'm doing. But you just want to make sure that you're getting the lower 2 bands of this project to right there. And 1 more. The outer 2 bands. There we go. And now we should be able to continue our looping. I think on this side I have boo-booed, so I grabbed the wrong, it appears I grabbed the wrong links on that one and on this one. So I need to go back and I need to get that link and that link. Okay, that looks a little better. All right, so guys, we're flipping that back down here. We've already done our center, our left of center, and our right of center. Now I'm going to link up my left side to this point where I stopped, and that's going to be pushing back all the mess and the nonsense. And you want to grab, there's 1 band down there. Somewhere there's 1 bottom band down there. So you just want to wiggle your way in there, pushing back everything. And you're grabbing that bottom band, and can I get it? Nope. I'm going to have to fiddle with it and push back everything. As I said, it's quite messy and quite confusing because you got so much stuff going on. But there we go. Finally got it. Got my bottom band. You only want that bottom band. Link forward and pushing back all that next mess and bottom band. That one's a little easier. Pushing back all the mess in your horizontal. Come forward with your bottom band. Push back the mess. Grab your bottom band. Pushing back your horizontal, bottom band. Pushing back your horizontal and bottom band. And we need to stop there because I don't have any more room to link the rest of this together. So I have to stop there. And now we need to work on our righter side. I like that word, righter. Once again, push back all the mess and the nonsense and the gook and grabbing that single band on the bottom. Well, there's part of my little black holding band. And we're going to reach into the next one up, grabbing the bottom band. Push back, bottom band. Push back, bottom band. Pushing back, bottom band, push back, bottom band, and now we're ready to continue to link in some pieces. But unfortunately, I know it's going to get it's going to be really tight. I can't do that. So we need to relieve some tension once again at the bottom here. Pull up on these bottom ones until you get to the second peg away from where you looped. You don't want to release that one. And you want to release the middle ones too, up to that point in your righter side. I really like that word, righter. How would you spell that? So I'm just releasing up to the second one away. And I'm just going to continue to release the center up, relieve some tension. And now I'm ready to continue. Ooh, gonna mess down here. Somebody called. Okay, now I'm ready to be able to, oh, look at that weird experiment. Oh, sorry. I've had way too much coffee today, by the way. Okay, time to finish linking up. And we're going to grab, there's our two. We're going to grab those two and come forward. And that one's pretty to see. And this one's a little twisted on me, so I'm just going to grab it and pull her up. Grab here and pull up. Grab here and pull up. And then you are on your last sets. Your last two, next to the last two. You want to loop that one in. And also at that last two, here's your dangle band from the first side. I want you to take that dangle band and I want you to wrap it around that peg 2 times. So you're hooking up the dangle band right there. And we have to do our opposite side. But before we do our opposite side, I'm going to link up to here first. That way, if something should come off, I know it's already linked in. So I'm just going to reach in here. And that peg is our second one away from where we stopped linking. I don't see a horizontal, I don't see a band down there that I can get. But this peg here, the next one up, is where my single band is, and pull it out. And there's another single band, and pull it out. And another single band, pull it out. Pushing back your horizontal bands, and pull those out. Push back the horizontal, there's my single. Push back my horizontal, here's my single. I'm going to stop right there because I still have this part to loop together. So that portion is done, and now we need to continue to work on our left, nope, our righty side. This is our righty side. And for the righty side, I need to get my loom pieces straight here. And there's my 2 and my 2. And this next 2 has gotten twisted, but there it is. And these are really hard to figure out which 2 you kind of need because they start to twist up on you. But just take your time. Hope that you get the right ones. And if you don't, it's not that big of a deal. It'll distort it just a little bit, but it'll still be recognizable as a sled. So there, I've got that one hooked up, and I'm taking my dangle band from my right side, righty side. I'm going to wrap that around there twice. And now I'm able to reach back into the weird science experiment and figure out where I left off, which should be, there's one peg that was linked in, and there's what I linked up to. So I'm going to reach in, push back everything, and I'm grabbing that single band on the bottom. Reach back, single band, and reach back and single band. 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 And now we're almost ready to pull this guy off the loom, but we have to finish up our horizontal end pieces here. So reach into your center. There'll be 2 bands on the top that are going to go off to the right, lefty side, the lefty side. Reach in all the way and grab the next 2 bands, which are going to go over to the left again. And I did not do that correctly. So here's what we need to do. Since I did not do that correctly, we got to pull this off and place it back down. That's our lefty band. And we need to pull this lefty band off and place it back down. Place those two lefty bands back down. And what has happened is right here, I did not lay them correctly. I should have started laying from the left over to the center. And this should have been from the right over to the center, but I did not do that. So what we have to do is to take off our top link right there and put that back down. That's the one that was horizontal up. We're going to take off this twisted band that we had, and then we're going to take off that last set of two of the side of our sled. And we have to get to this piece right here. We have to get to this second peg in. And on that second peg in, I want you guys to lift up the two bands that were looped forward, pull off those two bands there, and pull off the two bands on the center. Now go back to the right, left, left, left. Sorry, that's my left. These left two bands, let's lay those down first. And then we're going to grab the bands that are on the right towards the center. We're going to lay that down. And then these two that we still have on our hook are going to get placed right back down. And then we're going to grab our two pieces of our left side, place it back. We're taking our dangle band from the left side and we're going to loop it around twice. And then we're going to loop up our single piece again and finish off that side. Now we need to do the same thing on this other side because it's not going to be correct either. So over here on the righty side, we're going to take off that single band that we moved forward and just place it on the backward peg. We're going to have to take off our dangle band that we twisted around twice. And then this is the set of the side, the two pieces off the side. And I need you to pick up that single band. No, I'm sorry, that single band can actually stay there. That single band stays there. It's the next one in from the right. We're going to pick up those two bands. We're going to grab the two that were on the first peg and move them off. Two on the center off. Then we're going to pick up our right peg again and lay it down. We're going to pick up our center peg and lay it across again. And then these two get looped right back on. That peg right there. Making lots of mistakes in this tonight. I'm so sorry. Okay, and then we need to replace our two pieces off the side. And we need to replace our dangle band that we're going to twist around twice. And then we need to link up and hook up that piece right there and come forward. And that has fixed my mess. I'm really sorry that you had to see that, but it was needed to be done. So we're going to reach back into the center again. And these two bands are going to go off to the left. Now you're going to reach all the way in, and these two bands are on the very bottom now. They weren't before, they're on the bottom now. I'm going to pick those up and you're going to move that off to the left. And then you're going to take a red band and you're going to secure off everything in that corner. Secure off everything in that corner with a red band. And we're going to reach into the center again, and we're going to go to the right this time. And now this set of bands is on the very bottom. That set of two bands is on the very bottom. Move it over to the right. Single dangle band again, or single securing band. And we're going to pull that through and slip knot that off right there. And now we are ready to take our project off the loom. And we're going to cross our fingers that I did not miss any loops. Because if I did, You want to be sure if you're using jelly bands that you don't drop these 2 dangle bands, because they will come undone. Live and learn. The jelly bands don't like to stay very tight. Sometimes I even go back with floss or yarn and I'll tie off when I'm using jelly bands. I just want to pull it off the loom. And voila! With a little bit of fixing and a little bit of tugging and a little bit of pulling, we have got ourselves a nice sled. We're going to hide these dangle bands down in there. It's not a big deal. You guys should all know how to hide that by now. And there is our sled. In order to get your legs to curve up, you want to just take and do about every other band. You want to just do a little nip and tug to give your legs some curvature. You want it really curved. You do a greater tug on those, but see how simple that was to make that curve? Like 1, 2, 3. Pull up and down with your hook. 1, 2, 3. Pull up and down with your hook. 1, 2, 3. Pull up and down with your hook. And it just gives it a curve. And you can continue to play with that and get it at the right curvature that you want. But that's how I curve the legs. And the last thing on the sled is the little holly berry here. And for the holly piece, I have 2 on there, 1 on each side. Pretty simple to do with a little selection of green bands. And you're going to need 2 red bands per side, actually 3 red bands per side. I want you to tie a knot in 2 of those red bands. Just tie a simple knot in the center. You're going to tie a knot in the center of this one. We're going to use those in a minute. And the next step is going to be to take a single band, wrap it around your hook 1, 2, 3 times. And you want to pull through 2 bands and secure that back on your hook. And then we're going to wrap a single band around 1, 2, 3 times. 2 bands. Pull that through and secure back on. And push it down. Single band, 1, 2, 3 times. Pull 2 bands through. And secure that back on. So you have 3 little kind of divots here. And then you're going to take your holly berries and place those on your hook. And place that holly berry on your hook. And you could do 3 of them if you wanted to, 2. It doesn't really matter with the red. And then our next step will be to take a red band. And we're going to convert all of this over onto the red band. Your 2 little berries, and holly leaf 1, and holly leaf 2, and holly leaf 3. And you're going to reclaim your end back and tie that off in a slip knot. And that gives you, my friends, the illusion of a little holly berry. And you can fiddle and play with it as you wish to get it looking really nice. And all I did for the little holly is just place it on the sled kind of where I wanted it. And I took my red band and I just pulled it right through any spot. And you can hide it off and do as you wish with it. If you want more green to berries, you can do that. If you want to put a little white snowflake on there, you can do that. So the options for that are endless. But that, my friends, is the very tedious and time-consuming Christmas Santa sled or sleigh. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this very lengthy project. I would say it's been fun making it, but truthfully, this one gives me problems. I didn't want to do it, but so many people asked for it. So be gentle on me in the comments, because I told you guys it was going to be hard. I didn't lie about it. So hope you've enjoyed that. Stay tuned for my Santa and his little sack of toys. Santa and his sack of toys will be on my channel very soon, if not already. And the reindeer is already on my channel. Look for the playlist that says Christmas and you will find all of these items. And I will be back with you for another video, I hope. Subscribe my channel, like me on Facebook at Crafty Ladybug Creations, and you can visit me on the web, www.craftyladybugcreations.com. Thanks, guys.